years.
So one thing I picked up here a few months ago, locally, along with all those radios I remember showing you guys that I picked up for like, I think I paid like 75, 80 bucks for all of the radios, and this little dealie here, which is Convoy Citizen Band Products Regulated DC Power Supply, model Con-300, with an output of 13.8 volts DC, continuous 3 amps, and surge at 4 amps. So I figured I'd make a quick little video on this thing, see if it works or not, clean it up. Waiting on Sal's capacitors to respond. I sent them a sent him an order on Wednesday. Today is Sunday, and I followed up with a telephone message, and he's yet to respond to my email, order, or my telephone message. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I'm kind of on hold with the Phico 42340 until I can get some parts. So I figured we'd take a quick look at this thing today and make a quick little video of it. This is only going to be a one-part video. Now, I don't know if it's had a new cord put in it before, but this cord is very supple. I think it's the original cord. Feels fine. I don't see any problems with it. It has a spot for a fuse in the back. It doesn't say what size the fuse is. I suppose I should probably go online and see what it's supposed to be. But I think I'm going to put a fuse in it and power this thing up and just see if it actually comes on and works. Let me get a fuse for it. Okay, I found a slow blow 4 amp fuse that we're going to put in there. Doesn't fit super tight. Let me squeeze those together a little bit. There we go. Now we will plug it into my new multifunctional panel and get that all powered up. Alright. Alright, let me get you guys where you can see this a little bit better. Move everything a little bit closer over here. I'm going to plug this into my outlet right here. I've already got it on AC. I'm not sure if I can get this where you guys can see. I'll try and get you where you can see a little bit better. Let's start giving it some voltage first and just see. I got the power switch on and off right at the moment, but let's just see what happens. We put a little voltage to it, see if the electronic circuit breaker just decides to trip on us, but no, there's no current. Okay, so that's fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip it on. I do see one of the output jacks is kind of loose on it. Alright, let's turn some. So let's see what we get going on here. About 83 volts. Starting to pull a little bit of current. Got about 40 milliamps. 2.9 watts. Alright, let's go on up with some voltage. 50 milliamps. I do have a light coming on the front of it now. 107 volts. 70 milliamps. Alright, we're at 80 milliamps, 120 volts. About 4.4 watts of power. Lights on. We're going to turn on our check our AC or DC coming out of this. Assuming I can get my probes in there. $13.8. Looks like it works perfect. So it's regulated at 13.8 volts, so that's exactly what it is. Alright, so it works. So all I really need to do is clean this puppy up. You can see there, with the light on, I think you can see that. I can feel it vibrating. So let me disconnect all this and take it apart, and let's see what we got inside this thing. Let's see if we can get this apart and take the top cover off. So far I'm pretty happy. Obviously I think I paid the guy like $3 or $4 for this, no more than $5, because he had no idea if it worked. None of the stuff I bought from this guy did he know worked. So we will just take it apart and clean it up. And it appears to be working properly. We just want to make sure that there's no obvious internal issues. I know that one of the jacks on the front is loose, so that obviously has to be fixed. Alright, let's see. It's bent here on this one corner. There we go. There we go. Not too bad. Does have a big cap in it. Obviously it has a big transformer in it. It looks like this thing's been dropped. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that transformer is definitely not straight in there. It is canted at an angle like that, and if you can see that bracket in there, you can see that bracket's bent. Both brackets are bent, so we know it works, but it does have a big cap here, 2225 volts, as well as some little caps here on this board down here that I need to figure out the age on this, determine if I should go ahead and change those out. This was actually made in Japan, but yeah, let me clean this up a little bit. I did straighten the transformer back up, but I think I still need to take it loose because it's not sitting down the way it should because the bracket being bent. But I figured I'd try and get some of this crappy inside out of here first. Got a little bit of rust in here, but all in all it's not too bad considering. Corrosion on the anodized bracket. I'll probably just treat it with some Bow Shield. This is just a tool. We're just trying to make sure everything's safe inside and everything is, you know, like it should be. It's obviously putting out the regulated voltage, so that's good. And I know for a fact that I need to fix this, which is loose. But from what I can see inside, it's just the nut's loose. So that's not a big deal. Alright, I think I need to get that screws off that transformer so I can straighten that bracket out. Let me get the screws out of that. I'll be right back. Okay, I got the transformer loose, both sides. You can see here on the bracket how bent that is, so I'm going to have to straighten that out. The other side's bent somewhat as well. I really don't plan on taking all this loose. It wouldn't take much to get it loose enough to not be a problem. I could kind of set it off to the side. Yeah, let me maybe unsolder a wire or two where I can set it off to the side a little bit easier. I think I'm going to take this white wire off right here, because that's going to this board, and that's kind of keeping me from going over. And I think once I do that I can get it off to the side. So we'll just pull that wire off real quick. There we go. Alright. Now let's see what we can do here. I think that white wire is holding it right there now. Actually, multiple white wires holding it. How far do I want to take this thing apart? Not very far. To be honest, not very far at all. And I should be able to get these over like that. And I think we'll be fine doing it like that. So, let me see if I can get some vice grips and get that bent back down the way it's supposed to be. Got a pair of vice grips here. I'm going to try and squeeze this to straighten it. Kind of, or a pair of pliers maybe might be better. So I need to get that pushed back over, or that pushed out. I'm actually thinking I might be better off to just pull that transformer completely out of that bracket, because it looks like it'd come out pretty easy, and then I can go work on the bracket and bring it back. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe. Yep, there we go. Alright, so I got the bracket off. I'm going to go take a work on this thing. Get it like it's supposed to be. Be right back. Okay, so I got it all cleaned up. I got the bracket all straightened out. Both sides. And then I cleaned all the corrosion off and treated it with T9 Bow Shield. Same with the inside. I got the inside all cleaned up. Got it all cleaned up, and I treated the corrosion in here with T9 Bow Shield. In the process of cleaning things, I cracked this little circuit board, but I glued it back with some super glue, so I think it's going to be fine. So really all I got left to do is tighten up these terminals here, check the other terminals there, and get the transformer put back in place. So let's see if we can get this thing tightened up first. Use the little pliers. pretty tight. We should be okay there. Let's check this one. This should be good. Alright. There we go. Alright, that should be tight. Everything should be good. So really all that leaves is for me to replace that capacitor. Let's go ahead and get this bracket back on the transformer. Without screwing anything up here, like my wires. There we go. Hope I got you guys where you can see what I'm doing here. Bend those tabs up just a smidgy. A little bit more. Give it a little persuasion here. There it's going. Let's help it along a little bit. There it is. Just knock these down. And squeeze them together. There we go. And that's good. Alright. Now let's see if we can get this put back inside there. Put my black wire over the top so it don't get smashed. Like that. Actually not like that because I got a brown wire in the way. There we go. Like that. Okay, you guys are almost out of the screen. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and screw that down and we'll come back. Okay, I got everything all back together again, and to test it, everything's still good. I'm going to go ahead and order a new 2200 electrolytic for it. I tested this one and it tested like at 25, and this older cap, I'm not sure if it's plus 10 minus 10, plus 20 minus 20, but the ESR on it was like 0.60, and from everything I could find it's supposed to be like 0.15. So I'm going to go ahead and change it, but I don't have it, so I have to order it. I'm not going to order it from Sal's because I'm not hearing back from Sal. I'm going to order it from Amazon. So hopefully I'll have it before long. The other thing I decided I would go ahead and just repaint the case, outside cabinet. I've sanded it down. I'm not going to make it black again. I like hammer paint. And I got this hammer paint. This is like an off green. Probably not coming out in the color very well. It's the same thing that I painted that 077 signal generator, the old Phico, that matched it, and I got a little bit left. I think I'm going to do that. So let me get this painted, and I'll bring you back when I have a new cap and have it installed and we put it back together again. Okay, so I got you guys zoomed in on the MFP on the component tester right here. I did want to show you guys, I did get the lever fixed. What I wound up doing was cutting it off and then soldering it back on. So as you can see here, it's 90 degrees, and now that works. Put my lead back in here, and we're going to check the big filter cap on the Convoy regulated power supply. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that I probably even needed to change it. When I checked it, it was out a little bit, but I didn't know what the tolerance was on it. So I got some new caps, and we're going to compare the old cap to the new cap. So let me get this fired up and get that component tester fired up. And just adjust this up a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Alright, so here is the one that came out of there, 2200 at 25 volts. So let's go ahead and pick it up. And see what we get. Okay, it's the same. We got 2634 microfarads and an ESR of 0.16. Okay. Now let's test a new one. This is a 2200 at 35 volts instead of 25 volts because I couldn't find any 25 volt ones, so I got 35, so I figured it didn't matter much. Alright, so let's check this one. Alright, this one is testing 2019 UF with an ESR of 0.14. So the ESR is really no different. The cap is a little closer in tolerance, but I think it would have been fine either way. I think I could have just left it, but since I didn't leave it, I'm going to put one in, and I'm going to show you something that I made for the cap. Okay, so because I couldn't get an axial cap, I had to buy a radial cap. So my plan is I'm going to mount it just like this, but I didn't want it just floating in air, so I printed off the stand for it. As you can see, the stand has the half round shape in there so that I can literally set the back half of the cap in there like that to support it. So I'll put a little dab of hot glue in that, and then I'll put a little dab of hot glue on the bottom, and it'll hold everything supported so I don't have to worry about it rattling around in there or breaking loose at some point. So let me get that set up and I will bring you back. Okay, I got it soldered in place. I got my support in place, as you can see there. So that should be that. Now I didn't bother to replace any of the smaller capacitors over here because since this one seemed fine, I think these are fine too for now. I mean, it's doing the rated voltage at 13.8 volts. Now granted, I haven't hooked it up and seen how it passes for amperage, but I think that it's going to be fine, and I'm just going to leave it there for now, and if something happens in the future, obviously I can go in there and change those caps out. But I think that this repair is good enough for this thing. So let me zoom you out and show you what I got for the rest of it here. So this is the top cover. Told you I was going to do hammer paint on it, and I did. And you can see a little bit of a dent in the top. That was already there, but you know, for hammer paint, it turned out okay. I'm happy with it. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this on there. Check check everything, make sure everything looks good. It looks like everything's good. Let's go ahead and get the cover on there. See where my holes are. Get those lined up. Find my screws. Alright, so there it is. What do you think? Look pretty good? Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, now let me show you what I got to do here. So remember I had to put that fuse back there? Well, we don't want somebody reaching back there and getting shocked or electrocuted. So I created on the 3D printer a fuse cover to snap on there. And I couldn't find anything online, but since this is supposed to put out 3 to 4 amps, I put a 4 amp slow blow in there. And all I gotta do is see if we can get this to snap on here. There we go. There it is, it's on there. And now we don't have to worry about anybody getting shocked off the back. Anybody meaning me, basically. Alright, I'm going to see if I can plug this thing in and run a 12 volt automotive fan off of it and see if we can make that work. Let me get that set up. Okay, so right now, as you guys can see from the light down there, it's on. And as you can see from this, I am actually powering a automotive 12 volt cooling fan. I think you can probably see the rotations occurring on there. My phone's getting some sort of message. But we're putting out about 2.5 amps as measured through the meter on the multifunction panel. It was as high as 2.75, but the motor has been loosening up. This has been sitting in my son-in-law's garage forever. Now it's also sucking off the tabletop, so if I pick it up off the tabletop, it's going to pick up speed and the amp draw is going to decrease, obviously, because it's not got a big load on it any longer. As you can see, I'm holding it up off the table now, and as it stays off the table, then obviously the amp draw is not required. So I think it's doing good. So I think the little Convoy regulated DC power supply is a success. So I guess we'll end this little chapter here. And I did get hold of Sal. He had sent me an email that went into my junk mail folder. So parts should be coming next week, I would think. So anyway, thanks for watching Gregg's Vintage Workshop.